Nuclear energy has been used as a power source for the United States ever since the first commercial power plant was built on May 26, 1958. Ever since then, more and more plants have been built to the point where now we have about 9% of our energy coming from nuclear power. All of the power from nuclear energy in the United States goes towards electric power, making up about 22% of all the electricity every American uses on a day-to-day basis. So this means that about a fifth of the electricity that we use to power our televisions, laptops, and lights all come from nuclear power plants. Building nuclear power plants is expensive. 20 years ago, it cost about $3 billion on average to make a plant. It also takes some plants more than 10 years to be made. The high price and duration of time required to construct a nuclear power plant, combined with the political pressures of some anti-nuclear groups like the Clamshell Alliance and Greenpeace, make it extremely hard for nuclear power to compete with coal and oil. After the fuel is spent, it must be contained and disposed of properly, because uranium will remain radioactive and lethal for thousands of years after use. The leaking of waste from a container into the nearby environment is a significant risk that power companies try to avoid. Listen to this nuclear reactor employee from Washington describe how hard it is to maintain nuclear waste leaks.
So all this waste is, if the tank has failed, that waste has to be taken out of that tank and put into another tank, except there's no room.
So we're looking at potentially a catastrophe, a disastrous catastrophe.
Well, every day you're looking at that at Hanford. I'm totally serious.
In the United States, there are 99 operating reactors housed in 61 different power plants located in 30 different states. In the United States, there is currently no centralized location dedicated to storing all of the radioactive waste that each power plant creates. As of 2014, there were 65,000 tons of nuclear waste in temporary storage. Due to the lack of a large, safe, isolated storage facility for containing nuclear waste, each power plant stores their own waste at their own facilities, or in a nearby location to their own plant. The downfall to storing radioactive waste separately at each nuclear power plant is that if released, the radioactive waste can contaminate the environment very quickly. Nearly every nuclear reactor in the US is located close to a river or a lake, so that billions of gallons of water can be pumped into the reactor and used to cool the uranium from overheating. The proximity nuclear waste has to rivers, lakes, and groundwater reservoirs poses a serious threat to the communities that rely on these sources for drinking water. Unfortunately, many of the communities that surround the nuclear power plants are made up of low-income families. Take the Oconee Nuclear Power Plant in South Carolina, for example. This power plant is located between Oconee and Pickens counties. The areas are both rural, and many families there rely on farming as their livelihoods. The average per capita income of Oconee-Pickens counties are $24,055 and $20,647 respectively. However, the average per capita income of the average American is more than double that, at $53,750. The Americans surrounding the Oconee nuclear power plant are clearly experiencing environmental injustice because they reap the least amount of benefits from nuclear power by spending less on energy, but face the largest consequences with the possibility of a meltdown or a nuclear waste leak. At the very least, the citizens of these places may have contaminated water that can be toxic to drink. According to the article Environmental Justice and American Travel Sovereignty by Noriko Ishiyama, the Goshute Indians from modern-day Utah were subjected to environmental injustice by agreeing to store nuclear waste on their reservation. The landfill was planned to contain 40,000 tons of commercial high-level radioactive waste. Ishiyama argues that the prolonged process of historical colonialism and a capitalist political economy has isolated the tribe to suffer. Nuclear reactors are often misjudged as a clean form of energy. The truth is that nuclear energy can harm many lower-income communities by polluting the air, water, and bodies of anyone who comes near them. Maybe in the future, people will look towards more sustainable, renewable sources of energy.